So today's project, our R9 270. I want to talk about this real quick. So I remember about a year and a half ago, way before what's going on now, I used to get graphics cards for like $20 to $30. In particularly these. I used to buy these for $20, and now a year and a half later, I'm paying $60 for this card. R9 380s, 40 to 50 bucks. And RX 570s, 70 to 80 bucks. And now everything has pretty much doubled the graphics cards. It's crazy that I am holding a graphics card that literally a year ago was half the price and it has appreciated in value. Yeah, I have never in my life had a graphics card appreciate in value, but I guess that's the new world we live into. So today we're going to be taking a look at this computer. We're going to be doing some benchmarking, disassembly, and we're also going to be talking about the specs and all that good stuff on that. And we're going to pop it in the computer and we'll see how it holds up today and if it's still a decent graphics card almost 7 years later. So let's go on and let's talk about specs. So the Radeon R9 270 was a mid-range graphics card by AMD launched in November of 2013. Featured 1280 shading units, 80 texture mapping units, and 32 ROPs. AMD has paired 2 gigs of DDR5 with the Radeon R9 270 and is connected using a 256-bit memory interface. The operating frequency is 900 megahertz. It has a boost clock up to 925, and the memory runs at 1400 megahertz. It's a dual slot card, draws power from one 6-pin power connector with power draw rated at 150 watts maximum. The display outputs include 2 DVIs, 1 HDMI, 1 DisplayPort, and the R9 270 is connected to the rest of the system using a PCI Express 3.0 16 interface. The card measures 210 millimeters in length and features a dual slot cooling solution. Its price at launch was $179, and if we estimate inflation, it's $198. Now, comparing this card to other cards, it is slower than a GT 760, but it's faster than a 750 Ti by approximately 36%. And in comparison to a somewhat modern card, being a GT 1030, you're talking about 68% faster than a GT 1030, but like I said in the past, 1030s, not ideal for gaming. They'll get the job done, but considering that a 7-year-old card can outbeat that, just something to consider. Alright, so after going off the specs, let's go ahead and let's take this card apart. One thing I will say about video cards is I do love taking hardware apart. Just nothing like seeing the insides, and I know most of them look the same, but still something very satisfying about taking these cards apart, seeing how they were built, the quality. I don't know, just something very therapeutic about it. So 4 screws takes out this plate over here. So it has a shroud over here, and the shroud is held on by all these screws right over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's take these 5 screws out. Make sure you guys get in the camera those screws right there. Alright, so with that apart, this should disassemble quite easily. Very nice, very nice. So this is our CPU die in our memory, if you just want to take a look at that. Alright, and as you can see, our thermal paste is looking a little crusty as always, so let's go ahead. Let's pop this out right over here. And let's clean this up. Let's take a look at that. So this is our heat sink. So you see 2 heat pipes. I'd imagine and hope that the cooling efficiency is somewhat decent. So yeah. And just our little shroud for decoration, stuff like that. One thing I kind of like about these, with them being plastic, they're so much easier to spray paint. So if you wanted to go to theme build based upon what type of computer look you're going for, a little sandpaper, primer paint, looks real nice. Alright, so let me get some shop towels and let's wipe this off. Alright, fresh thermal paste, put back together, simple, easy, and this is something that you should always do anytime you get one of these used cards. So let's put this on the bench. Let's see if she still works, and we'll do some bench testing. So this graphics card, not too bad. Yeah, maybe we paid a little too much for it, but that's to be expected with everything going on in the world. So $60 is the new norm for a medium level graphics card from 2013, which is technically a low-end graphics card for now. So where this graphics card shines and fits up, 720p performance. Now, if you looked at the games, we did Horizon Zero Dawn, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and Fortnite. And of course, we did Heaven Benchmark, but I didn't record that. And I use that primarily just to kind of stress test this and make sure there's no glitches and everything. Like I say always, clean these graphics cards, fresh thermal paste makes a world of a difference. But what I also do recommend is pop it in, make sure it works. If it does work, then do what you got to do. So, and look at the games. We were able to play all these games at 1080p. In most cases, we were barely able to scrape 30 frames per second, 20 frames per second, Horizon Zero Dawn, Fortnite, 1080p, medium settings. We were able to get decent gaming experience consistent with 50 to 60 frames per second. Pretty good. Now in the other games, by lowering it to 720p, we were able to achieve 30 frames per second, which makes it an enjoyable gaming experience. So I would imagine even a more modern game, if we do 720p low settings, we could still get decent gaming experience on that. As far as the graphics card itself, number one, it's very quiet, and that's something I like. Even though the fans would ramp up, it's still very quiet, not much audible and everything like that. Temperatures maintained pretty decent considering we're in an open bench test bench over here. So decent graphics cards overall. So something to think about. I mean, where would this graphics card fit? For those of you who are trying to revive an older computer, maybe an i5 3rd gen, 4th gen, or something like that to that era, which they're still viable gaming computers, this might fit the build for you. I mean, yeah, $60, you might be able to get lucky and find it $40 in a different market. I used eBay, and that's where I got $60 for it. But if you're able to get it for $30, $40, and you're just trying to build in an older computer just to get it working so it runs decent and you can play games, this works good. And everybody loves Fortnite, and this handles Fortnite admirably. Also, another thing to consider, the biggest limitation that I'm finding on this video card and a lot of these type of video cards is the VRAM. Only 2 gigs, and 2 gigs is the issue that you run into because it limits your resolution and also the rest of your gaming experience. So if you guys are looking to get a budget graphics card, you really need to consider 4 gigs of RAM in 2021 is probably going to be the new minimum standard, at least to get you something a little more enjoyable. But if you don't mind playing 30 frames per second, 720p at low settings, this definitely fits the cake. So something to consider. So chat them down below. Let me know what you think. The R9 270. Decent graphics card. Would you buy it? What's another one that you recommend? Comparably, the 760 is better than this one, but those are going for like $80 right now. The prices are just insane. So if you can get a 760, I definitely recommend that. If not, if you can get this one for a lower price, go for it. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. Thoughts, suggestions. If you like the video, definitely hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not. And as always, we'll see what we come up with next.